There's a certain kind of car you can't just buy. You can't walk into a showroom, point at the one in the window, hand over a card and drive it home that afternoon. That's how normal people buy normal cars, and these are not normal cars. For the machines on this list, the process runs the other way around. You don't choose the car. The car's makers, in a quiet way, decide whether they'll build one for you. You ask, you wait, you specify every stitch and every shade, and months later something is delivered that exists nowhere else on Earth because it was built around you and nobody else. And here's the part that should make you sit up wherever you're watching from. Some of the most expensive, most exclusive, most untouchable SUVs in the entire world are not German. They're not Italian. They're built right here in Britain, in factories in Crewe, in Goodwood, in Solihull, in Wales, by people doing things with leather and wood and aluminium that almost nobody else on the planet still knows how to do by hand. We're counting up to the most extreme of them all. Let's begin. Number 10. The Range Rover SV. We start with the one that arguably invented this entire game. Strip away every imitator and every rival, and the original luxury SUV, the car that first dared to say a 4x4 could be as plush as a limousine, was the Range Rover, born in Britain in 1970. Everything else on this list, in a sense, is chasing what Solihull started. And the modern flagship, the SV, is the company reminding everyone exactly who got here first. It starts north of £180,000 before you've touched the options list, and the options list is where the real money quietly disappears. This is the version with the ceramic detailing on the dashboard, the near-infinite paint combinations, the executive rear seats that recline and massage. You can specify a piece of inlay made from genuine, individually placed fragments of material set into the trim, the kind of thing that takes a craftsman hours just to align. It is, by the standards of what's coming, the affordable one. Sit with that. 180 grand is where this list begins. We climb from here. But the Range Rover plays a clever trick. It hides its price. It looks, to the untrained eye, much like the Range Rovers in every supermarket car park, which is exactly why the truly wealthy started looking for something that could never be mistaken for anything ordinary. And the British answer to that came from a city better known for something else entirely. Number 9. The Bentley Bentayga, Crewe, a town in the northwest of England, historically famous for railways, and today home to one of the most extraordinary luxury car factories on Earth. The Bentayga is built there, and when it launched, it did something faintly ridiculous. It offered a 12-cylinder engine in an SUV, making it, for a time, one of the fastest and most powerful luxury 4x4s money could buy. That giant engine has since been replaced by a thunderous V8, but the point was never really the speed. The point is what surrounds you. Inside a Bentayga, the diamond-quilted leather seats take a single craftsman many hours to complete. The wood veneers are matched so that the grain flows unbroken across the cabin, because they're cut from the same piece of timber, like slices from a loaf. There are over 1 million possible combinations of trim and color, and the sportiest version, the Speed, will throw all of that hand-stitched luxury from rest to 62 miles an hour in well under 4 seconds, a cathedral that happens to be quicker than most sports cars. It starts comfortably north of £200,000, and it is still, believe it or not, nowhere near the top of this list, because Crewe isn't the only British town-building cars that can outrun a Porsche while cradling you in a lounge. There's a factory in Wales doing something arguably even bolder. Number 8. The Aston Martin DBX. For most of its history, Aston Martin, the most romantic name in British motoring, the car of fictional spies and very real glamour, built sleek two-door machines and nothing else. An Aston Martin SUV sounded, to purists, like a contradiction. Then the company built one anyway, in a purpose-built factory in St Athan, in Wales, because the survival of the whole business depended on it. The result is the DBX, and the hottest version, the DBXS, is genuinely savage, comfortably over £200,000 with a twin-turbo V8 that makes it one of the fastest SUVs of its kind in the world. But the reason it's on this list isn't the engine. It's that an Aston is, more than almost any car made anywhere, a commissioned object. The personalization department will build you almost anything you can describe and pay for. Your initials in the headrests, a paint color mixed to match something you own, an interior in a combination nobody has ever ordered before and nobody will ever order again. This is the spy's car reimagined for a family, and priced so that the family in question is a very particular kind of rich. Now we leave the factory flagships behind. Because from here up, we enter the world of cars that aren't really sold at all, only commissioned, and the next one is built in a place that also happens to build cars for a king. Number 7. The Land Rover Defender, the bespoke V8 commissions. The Defender, in its ordinary form, is a working vehicle, the tough, square, go-anywhere icon. But that's not the Defender on this list. At the top of the range sits the V8, and beyond even that sits Land Rover's own in-house bespoke division, where the Defender stops being a tool and becomes a canvas. Through it, buyers commission one-of-a-kind builds, special finishes, unique materials, details that exist on no other example. The base vehicle might be famous and familiar. What these buyers walk away with is anything but. It's the cheapest entry point on the back half of this list, but the bespoke versions climb fast, and they prove a point that runs through everything still to come. In Britain, you can take even the people's off-roader and turn it into something only a handful of people on Earth will ever own. And that idea, taking a British icon and making it untouchable, is the entire business model of the next name. A company most people have never heard of, who quietly builds some of the rarest Range Rovers in existence. Number 6. The Overfinch Range Rover. Here's a name to drop at a dinner party to find out who really knows their cars. Overfinch. Founded in Britain back in 1975, Overfinch does one thing. It takes the already expensive, top-specification Range Rover and rebuilds it into something far rarer and far more extravagant. Hand-laid carbon fiber bodywork, wheels designed entirely in-house, leather sourced from specific Northern European cattle, chosen for how it feels under your hand. And crucially, this is the number that matters. They build only around 100 of them a year, total, for the entire world. That scarcity is the whole point. A standard Range Rover is a wonderful car that thousands of people own. An Overfinch is a thing perhaps 100 new people a year on the planet can have. Their heritage and special editions, with names you've never heard and details like built-in drinks cabinets and lined cases, have reached well over £300,000. You do not walk into a showroom and find one of these. You go to Overfinch and you commission it. And while we're on the subject of British craftsmen who turn Range Rovers into fortresses of luxury, some of them turn them into actual fortresses. Number 5. The armoured British Range Rover. This is where luxury meets something far more serious. Britain has a long, quiet history of building armoured versions of its luxury cars, vehicles designed to look exactly like the standard article while hiding ballistic protection inside the doors, the glass, the floor. Overfinch themselves were, at one point, commissioned to build armoured Range Rovers for the British government. The trade runs deep here, and this is a genuinely different kind of can't walk into the showroom, because you can't. These cars are specified privately, built to a security brief most people will never have reason to understand, and delivered quietly to people whose lives might one day depend on the engineering being perfect. The leather and the wood are still flawless. The difference is what's hidden behind them. The contrast is the entire idea, a car that looks like wealth and is secretly built to survive an attack. It costs a fortune precisely because the protection has to be invisible, and invisible protection is the hardest, most expensive kind to build. From the secretive, we climb now to the openly magnificent, the cars whose entire purpose is to be seen and to announce that their owner has arrived. Number 4. The Bentayga Mulliner. We return to Crewe, but to a different department entirely. Mulliner is Bentley's bespoke and coach-building arm, and its name is one of the oldest in the entire business, stretching back centuries to a time when the company built carriages for the aristocracy. Today, the Bentayga Mulliner is the Bentayga reimagined for the person in the back seat, because in a car like this, the rear passenger is the entire reason the car exists. The head lining is stitched by hand. The rear seats can recline. There's a cooled compartment in the center console and crystal glasses engineered to sit perfectly still and silent no matter how fast you're traveling. Every surface, every material chosen by the customer in a conversation with a Mulliner specialist and then waited for. This is not a car you buy. It's a private room that happens to move, and it's commissioned, not purchased. But for all Bentley's grandeur, there's one British name that sits above it, one badge that has, for over a century, meant the absolute summit of luxury, and which now builds the most expensive standard SUV on this list. Number 3. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan, Goodwood, in the south of England, the home of Rolls-Royce, and the Cullinan, named fittingly after the largest diamond ever found, is the most opulent SUV the company knows how to make. Its starting price makes even the Bentley look like a sensible purchase, comfortably into £250,000, and that's before you've spoken a single word to the bespoke department. Under the bonnet sits a vast, near-silent 12-cylinder engine so smooth that at idle you genuinely cannot tell whether it's running. Overhead, you can specify the famous starlight headlining hundreds of tiny fiber-optic lights hand-set into the roof to recreate a night sky above your head, and bespoke at Rolls-Royce means something close to limitless. If you can describe it, and your bank account can survive it, they will build it into the car. People have commissioned Cullinans themed around hobbies, hometowns, family histories. No two need ever be alike. It is the pinnacle of the production cars on this list, but the final two aren't really production cars at all. They're closer to architecture, and the wealthiest people on earth wait years for them. Number 2, the Rolls-Royce Cullinan by Coachbuilt. Yes, Rolls-Royce appears twice, and the reason tells you everything about where the very top of this market has gone. Beyond even the bespoke Cullinan sits Rolls-Royce Coachbuilt, the company's ultra-rare division that doesn't modify an existing car so much as create entirely new ones by hand for a tiny number of clients who have already bought everything else money can offer. These are not specified from a menu. They're designed in collaboration over years, with the buyer effectively becoming a patron commissioning a one-off work of art that happens to have wheels. The cost of this kind of commission runs into territory most luxury cars never approach, well beyond the standard Cullinan's $250,000 starting point, into sums Rolls-Royce never publicly confirms, because the people commissioning them do not need to ask and do not wish to say. You cannot walk into a showroom for this. There isn't a showroom. There's a relationship, a waiting list of names that never appear in public, and a workshop in Goodwood building something the world will only see when its owner decides to reveal it, which leaves only one car, the most exclusive British-built machine of them all, number 1, the bespoke armoured state-grade British SUV. At the very top sits a category more than a single model, the fully bespoke armoured state-grade British SUV, built to a standard the rest of this list only flirts with. Picture the most expensive Range Rover or Bentley imaginable, every surface already hand-finished to perfection. Now have it taken to a specialist British workshop and rebuilt from the inside out. Ballistic protection woven invisibly into the entire structure, glass that can withstand what ordinary glass cannot. Communications and security systems most civilians never see. Every reinforcement hidden so completely that the car still looks like nothing more than a very nice SUV. The build can take many months, the cost runs to many times the price of the donor car, and the annual number built, worldwide, is tiny. These are the cars of heads of state, of people whose security is a matter of national interest, of the genuinely untouchable few. There is no showroom, there is no price list. There is a private conversation, a security assessment, an extraordinary sum of money, and a long wait, at the end of which a British workshop hands over something that protects a life while looking like it merely flatters one. That's the real summit. Not the loudest car, or the fastest, or even the most beautiful. The one built so that the person inside it is both completely comfortable and completely safe, and built so quietly that you'd never know either. So here's what this whole list really tells you. The world thinks of British cars too often through the old jokes, the breakdowns, the rust, the troubles of decades past. Look at where the genuine top of the luxury world is actually built today. Crewe, Goodwood, Solihull, Wales. The names on the most exclusive, most expensive, most untouchable SUVs on the planet are, more often than not, British. Not because Britain shouts the loudest, but because when it comes to doing things by hand, to leather and wood and the patient, expensive craft of building one perfect thing for one specific person, there are still workshops on this island that the rest of the world simply cannot match. You can't walk into the showroom for these. But that was never really the point. The point is that, somewhere in Britain right now, someone is building one of them by hand, and they already know exactly whose name is going on it.